afternoon to all of you, and welcome to our pre-show show, where I am attempting to multitask whilst driving off-road and looking for the lines that I had this morning and learning how to whistle like a skopsow, because Gert, who is on camera with me, does the best skopsow impression I've ever heard. One more time. How do you...
Blow from your throat.
Blow from my throat. Where else do you... Can't do it. Nope. It's not working. And neither's my line search. Now, if you have just jumped on board and you're wondering what on earth is going on, I'm working on my animal impressions. You see, you do it so well. Practice. And we are about to go live with a live safari from the middle of the African bush. And this morning, we were with some lions, and they've gone in here. We were with some lions, Brent was with a leopard, then I was with some lion cubs, and now I am resuming my search for the lions once again. I have a strong suspicion that they are on their way to outside of our traverse area, but let's go quickly do a loop, see if they haven't popped out on the other side, and while I do that I can work on my skopsow. No. I get the fundamentals of it. I just can't. I can't put them together. I can, but I can't whistle at the same time. Did you ever play a musical instrument when you were a kid, Gert?
Yeah.
Did you? Guitar? Ah, so not a woodwind instrument. No. The whistling talent is just a talent. Nope, it's not working. Bear with me one moment. Herbie. Just contacting one of the other guides on the Game Drive channel. Herbie, they're in Konzo, cross west into the block on the other side of Zoe's towards Triple M. I'm just going to do a quick loop. Herbie was asking me where the lions were earlier, so that is what I'm letting him know. Looks like they might have been shifted about by some elephant. There's some elephant tracks in the road as well. Hold on a moment. This looks a lot like somebody went off-road here this morning. Perhaps the lions moved before the end of drive. Let us follow this path and find out. See how far it goes. Because these are fresh off-road tracks. So somebody was here this morning. What for, I wonder? The lions crossed further that way. But now, yeah, this is turning that way. Ooh. It did get... Oh. And it stops here. Well, it was nice while it lasted, I guess. It was a lovely adventure. That 10 meters off the road. Any lions here? No. Okay, let's go around the block and check to see whether they pop out. I was hoping we might find them on our pre-show show. But no such luck. I wonder where this person was going. Maybe they were here. There are some mysteries that remain to be answered, and you will only be able to find out if you stay tuned to our live safari, which starts in 10, 9, 9, 8, 7. See you soon.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the middle of the African bush. There is a predatory bird, a tawny eagle in the tree, and of course that's not the only predator out here. We're in search for a female leopard. This is Safari Live.
Ready.
Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
What a gorgeous raptor and a beautiful sunny day here in South Africa. Now, when you see a tawny eagle, it always pays to double check that there isn't a leopard kill somewhere close by. They've got incredible eyesight and often the first bird to find any carcass that's been left aside by a leopard. Now, it is a beautiful blue sky. You can see they're azure in color. And we are in the Sabi Sands Game Reserve in South Africa. And my name is Brent Leo Smith, and a big welcome to everyone here on Safari Live. On camera with me is the talented Genre, and we are going in search of Queen Karula. Now, Karula is the dominant female leopard in this area. We lost her not very far from here in some thick stuff on the Sunrise Safari, and I'm hoping we're going to be able to find her as soon as possible. Who knows, maybe she's made a kill during the day. If that's the case, she might have gone back to fetch her cubs, and that would just be delightful to have them back. And of course, this is 100% live, and what is that over there? And there's some impala. Let's go have a closer look. 100% live, and you can ask us questions by using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, or use the email address questions@wildearth.tv. Now, we've had some really overcast skies for the last few days, and now we are literally being blinded by brilliant sunshine and blue skies. Look at that, isn't that absolutely stunning? Now, only one thing could make it better, and if we find Queen Karula to pose perfectly for us in this lovely light. Now, of course, I'm not the only one out here. Jamie's heading off to look for some lions, and Byron's going to be trundling about on foot. So hopefully, between the three of us, we can provide you with some lovely Sunday afternoon entertainment. Now, I thought I saw some antelope through here. Oh, but I spotted a very pretty birdie. And got him on that little stick there, Genre. One of the multicolored little birds we get here. Very, very beautiful. That is a little bee-eater. Lovely yellow and green. Now, of course, called bee-eaters for their fondness of feeding off honeybees and wasps. Now, they'll perch like that, and you can see how busy his head is, scanning around for any potential prey. And once they catch something, especially something that might bite them or sting them back, they use their beak and they beat it against a stick to render it edible, I suppose, or render it edible without danger. Very, very pretty little bird. The smallest of the bee-eater species we get here in the Sabi Sands. And this is one of the birds we missed on Birding Big Day. And Raisa is wondering, what was our end total? Well, on Rusty it was 58 bird species, and through all different feeds it was 64. So we got well over 50 in the end, which was wonderful. Oh, off goes the bee-eater, and off we go to. Okay, well, we continue to search every dappled patch of shade for the camouflage of a leopard. Let's go see what Byron's up to on foot.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the bushwalk for this afternoon. My name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is Wiem. We've, of course, have Herbert with us, who is around somewhere.
whoopsie daisy, it seems as though poor Byron lost signal, as you can imagine, and we do apologize for that. Bringing you a live safari and especially a live bushwalk from the middle of the wilderness sometimes comes with its disadvantages. And a very good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to the Sunset Safari. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon I have Gert on camera with me on this bright and beautiful afternoon, where apparently rumor has it that the temperature is 27 degrees centigrade, which is 80 Fahrenheit. 81 Fahrenheit. Sorry, 81 Fahrenheit. Not that much of a difference, I suppose, between the two. And where the fabled deluge that was predicted yesterday has not arrived at all. And in fact, it looks as though our cold front has dispersed and disappeared, and we are back to our nice warm afternoon days. Brent and myself went on a little jaunt on Buffelshoek today in between drives. We went to go and visit some friends for lunch. The weather's been all over the place, but it seems as though it has finally settled upon a nice warm afternoon. So Buffelshoek, by the way, for those of you that are new to these safaris, Buffelshoek is the property that is just to the north of us. There are no fences in this vast wilderness area, but there are set places where we can go, where different lodges, different people can go. And Buffelshoek, unfortunately, is north of where we can go. Unless you happen to know some people who know some people, then you can go on to Buffelshoek. And we saw the most amazing, beautiful big elephant bull, who is all in massive tusks, really stunning animal. Right, so for those of you that missed the pre-show, I'm on the search for amber eyes and mfumo, 2 lions, 1 female and 1 male. We had them this morning, giving us an amazing display of their vocal prowess. In other words, they were roaring right next to the car, and it seemed as though Amber Eyes was quite intent on making her way towards the rest of the pride that we have since found out are on Simbambili, which is also north of our Traverse area, and she wanted to get there, but he kept blocking her every time she did, so eventually she just got frustrated and lay down. And I think she's going to have kept going, but the question is whether or not by now, in between drives, she has in fact reached the rest of the pride, or if he has managed to keep her on Djuma, essentially corral her to stay on Djuma. And he wants to keep her here because he wants her all to himself, because she's going into estrus. In other words, she's going to be ready to mate. And there is another male on Simbambili, Tinyo, one of the other Birmingham boys, who of course would be potential competition. So he wants to keep her all to himself, and she wants to go to the rest of the pride. And it hasn't been the first time that we've seen Amber Eyes behave like that. She once used the vehicle to play hide and seek. She used our vehicle, she went one way and the other. Now, Babukile, you want to know how many, and I'm sorry, I am focused on you, I promised. I'm also just making sure I don't obliterate any tracks crossing the road. You want to know how many lions overall are in the pride that we are looking for. There are 5 lionesses in the Nkuhuma pride, 5 adult lionesses. There are 6 cubs with them, between 3 different mums, so that in total makes 11. And then there are 4 Birmingham boys. So the males aren't actually part of a lion pride. They are a completely separate entity. The males move around in what's known as coalitions. This road's been dragged. In other words, it's been cleared of bumps. There's been a machine drag, a big tire dragged along it to smooth it out. Sorry, so there are 4 dominant males in this coalition. So essentially what happens with a dominant male coalition is they have a territory that encompasses several different lion prides, so several different combinations. And they will move about in that area, moving between pride and the other pride, one pride and another. They'll patrol their territorial regions, so they aren't always males with the females. It's not a sort of a Lion King situation where you have Mufasa's pride. It doesn't quite work that way. Prides stay in one area, and dominant males come and go throughout the years. And we're looking for 2 of them. 1 female, part of the Nkuhumas, and 1 male, part of the Birmingham boys. And now I'm starting to think, unless they drastically change direction, which they might have done, they have not yet crossed onto Arethusa, which means we've got a greater chance of seeing them. And I am going to be heading to Arethusa later this afternoon. I heard a report that Tingana is there, so he's a big dominant male leopard. We're going to be trying to find him as well. While we go on our search and make sure we've checked the boundary, let's head across so that we can hear from Byron.
I'll go back to camp. Good afternoon, everybody. Let's try that again. My name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is VM. And then, of course, we've got Herbert with us. We're out on our bushwalk for the
Now we're going really, really slowly. I'm hoping that Karula's popped out somewhere here. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to see tracks somewhere about here. So far, no luck. But it was a few hours ago. I was hoping she might be sleeping in the little riverbed here, taking a snooze in the shade. Now it is quite hot, so I'm hoping as it's got more and more hot during the day, she's rested up somewhere. So I'm also looking in the big shady marula trees. Might be a good spot for a snooze like she did this morning. Now that summer is here, if she gets up into the tree, it's a bit cooler, but it also avoids a lot of the biting flies, which unfortunately for us mere mortals down here at ground level are buzzing all around us at the moment. Okay, it's very quiet with this heat, not much happening. Still no sign of any tracks. The other thing is there's just so much water around at the moment that she can drink wherever. She doesn't have to go to a specific spot. I'm really hoping she's just gone to sleep somewhere in the deep shade here. Queen Karula up to her antics again, keeping us a-guessing. Now, if I was Karula, where would I go? I'm hungry as well. I think Nyala Road South. Just want to check that she didn't maybe take a shortcut through here, down the riverbed. It's really, really quiet out here in this heat, but hopefully something will be around. What's that? It is a leopard stump. Darn it. Okay, now let's hope we find some we lost her. If she'd got there, it would have probably been 9, so starting to get hot. Might start to think about slowing down, having a good rest. Okay, there's a couple of big game paths that come out here. We've seen Karula utilize many times over the last 18 months. So for those of you new, if you see me hanging out of the car like this, it means I'm looking for leopard tracks. Often the best way to find a leopard is to track it. Of course you do get lucky sometimes and you just bump it, but quite a lot of the time you've got to try, even if you find tracks, it's very difficult to follow each individual track. You've got to sort of put yourself, if I was a leopard, where would I go? Now, after a plethora of cats on the Sunrise Safari so far, they're making us work a little bit harder, the Sunset Safari, but we always like to work for our kitty cats. So while we keep searching for Queen Karula, let's go see how Jamie's search for the lions is going.
Well, that is half the fun of being out here, is having to work for your cat sightings, or indeed any sighting. Since the tracks haven't crossed the main road that I was on earlier, I've come all the way back to where I where I saw the original tracks going in off to my right. And what I'm going to do is go on a little adventure, but before I do, what is that? On the termite mound, is a steenbokkie sleeping on a termite mound. Look at you! That looks like a comfortable place to go and lie down. What a nice little spot that Steenbok has found. His back is, oh sorry, not his, her back is sheltered. And she doesn't have to worry about threats facing her. Well, that's interesting. Apparently Brent saw a 6 Steenbok here. In this exact, was it this exact spot? Because if it is, and this could be the same, no, it can't be, because apparently she had marks all around her eyes. Brent was telling me about that today, and how odd it was. Oh, sorry, I've got to just take my foot off the brake. It's not Gert wobbling, it's me. There we go. Is this her? Could this be her? No, this is most definitely not her. This is just a sleeping Steenbok. Apparently it was Power Lines Junction Impala Road. We're probably about a good 1.5 kilometers away from where Brent found that poor young Steenbok. Oh, good. I'm actually, well, I mean, not good. It would have been a relief if she'd suddenly made a miraculous recovery. But this Steenbok is alive and well and just having a rest in the shade of a termite mound. And nothing wrong with this little Steenbok. They are one of my favorite antelope. They're tiny, tiny little things. To give you a sort of a perspective, they're basically the size of a large fox terrier in terms of height, and no, they're about the size of a fox terrier would be my guess. Just exactly height and almost exactly weight as well. Or perhaps one very long-legged Jack Russell, maybe. A really big, really long-legged Jack Russell. Oh, that's good. I'm glad that she's okay. I was a bit concerned, but I think it's just a sleepy Steenbok. Before I go back to the lion tracks, I found something, and I can't believe I forgot to show you straight away. And this is Dewey the dung beetle. And Dewey the dung beetle is dead. Oops. hold on a moment. But Dewey the dung beetle is absolutely massive. And I wanted to just show you what a marvel these things are. This is one of the biggest. Okay, would you just stay? Okay, I'll hold you like this. I wanted to show you what a marvel these creatures really are, complete with the fine, fine, fine hairs over there on its underbelly. Look at this. And look at the massive spines on its feet. Now, this is a beetle that is designed to do a couple of things, one of which, of course, is to dig and to shovel under dung, hence the, let me do this slowly, hence the shovel-like shape to the face. It's also heavily, heavily armored, particularly for the males. We saw yesterday on the bushwalk how they were fighting each other, how one dung beetle would come and try and steal the dung ball that had been rolled by another, so essentially take credit for all of his hard work, and how he used these incredibly powerful front feet to kick and push the other dung beetles away. And quite formidable looking, aren't they? But really they're not really used as weapons except for other dung beetles. It's more that they're used for essentially for patting down and for grabbing onto balls of dung and being able to navigate almost any surface. Look at him, isn't he amazing? He's starting to come apart a little bit, so he's probably been dead for a little while in the sun. It really gives you a nice opportunity to examine the underbelly as well, complete with these fine, fine, fine golden hairs. Now, dung beetles serve a really very important purpose out here in terms of collecting and getting rid of and utilizing all of the herbivore dung that gets left behind. Because as you can imagine, tons and tons of dung is deposited just by elephants alone, and it's not just elephants out here. There's all sorts of creatures. Are you going to stand if I... Haha, balancing act. Here we go. Dewey's still standing, but only purely by balance. One of the things that people in Australia tried to do was to move across a whole load of dung beetles from South Africa in order to help them to cope with, I believe it was a cow dung problem. They just didn't have anything in the natural ecosystem that was built to cope with that amount of dung. And they brought in a whole load of dung beetles, but being extra cautious naturally, because, you know, they didn't want their dung beetles that were dealing with a pile of cow dung to bring in any diseases, so they placed them in quarantine and sort of disinfected them, which is a bizarre thought when you think about it. They disinfected all of the dung beetles, and essentially what that did, and I'm going to just, sorry, bear with me a moment, I'm going to try and see if I can find one for you, although I think they probably would all have crawled off by now. Essentially, what that did was it killed off all of the little mites that live on a dung beetle, and they serve an incredibly crucial purpose. So the mites were all cleaned off while the dung beetles were in quarantine, and all of the dung beetles were released, and they promptly all died. Because the dung beetles' mites that crawl along the body serve a really important purpose, and that's to clean away, because they have a dirty job, our dung beetles, and that's to clean away all of the dung that collects in these incredibly delicate joints, like the joint of the front leg here, the joints of the wing casings. I mean, this whole thing is articulated in a way. Its legs move in all kinds of directions, its body has to move, its head has to move, and something's got to help it keep clean because it can't reach every spot. And that was the job of the mites. And unfortunately, the Australians' desire to make sure that the dung beetles that they were getting in to clean a load of cow dung, their desire to make sure that those beetles were clean before they went about their dirty work, unfortunately meant that they couldn't go about doing their job, and they all died. There you go, an interesting insight into our endeavors in the past before we begin to really grasp just how everything ties together. I'm trying to look for the eyes to try and show you, and I know that they sit at the back. There, that's the eyes, I think. I have since learnt, since my rhino beetle moment, that's the eyes over there, underneath the casing here. Oops, sorry. Let me try and keep my hat shadow out of the way. So this is actually the eyes, and this is the shovel part of the head. Fascinating, isn't it? Really, truly. They've actually got massive eyes. I've never realized that before. They've got huge eyes. This one looks like it's smiling at me, wearing a top hat. Okay, one last look. Seriously, look at what I can see. Those are the two eyes, one on either side. And there's the little smile, and it's got a hat on. I'm never, ever going to look at dung beetles the same way ever again. But yes, it does go to show that often we think we know better when it comes to the natural world, and sometimes we make some very serious mistakes, and that includes occasionally introducing an exotic species in order to control a local one. Cool, huh? I'm going to keep that for the tent. I'm sure James is going to enjoy that. Now, James, you wanted to know if it's only the larger species of dung beetle that form and roll dung balls. There is a general rule, yes, that it... Sorry, Dewey, you just sit there. It is a general rule that it's usually the larger dung beetles that do it. There are dung beetles, the bright red ones, that are specialists in carnivore scat, that actually collects carnivore scat, and that's why you should really be careful with touching those particular beetles, because they pick up all kinds of nasty things from the carnivore's excrement. They do roll little dung balls, and they do the same thing as the larger ones. But for the most part, when you're dealing with a pile of herbivore dung, I'd love to find you a live one now, because Dewey here is a little bit depressing. But if you do ever see a pile of herbivore dung, it will be the larger dung beetles that have a tendency... Kingfisher, come back! Have a tendency to roll dung balls. Can't find my gear stick. The smaller dung beetles, usually what they do is they just dig straight down. So rather than rolling a big ball of dung and taking it off with them, they dig straight down and they lay their eggs underground. You do also get big dung beetles, bear in mind, that don't actually bother to roll dung balls at all. We've got lots and lots of different species, hundreds of different species of dung beetles. So they all do different things. Some of the big dung beetles don't bother to roll a ball. They'll just find a nice big bolus of elephant or rhino dung, and they'll lay their eggs just like that. Ready-made ball, essentially. And if they happen to be eaten, so be it. There'll be plenty more that have been laid and that have been able to survive. So often you'll go and you'll break open in midsummer or towards the end of the rainy season. You can go and break open big balls of elephant dung or any other kind of big dung. It's really only rhino that make the big balls as well. Occasionally hippo. And if you go and you break those open, you'll be able to see exactly, or you see the big grubs that live in there that are on their way to pupating. There you go. Aren't they fascinating creatures? I've never realized how big their eyes are or where they're situated up until now. And I know that seems ridiculous. Right, these lion tracks were... I saw them crossing here. Sorry, Rebecca, can you go with that again? Kat, did you get that? Kyle, I'm sorry, hold on a second. Your question makes total sense. I just need some clarification here. Who's stealing who and what? Please, wait, let me just stop the car. Windmill? Okay. Right, Kyle. Your question is, wait for it. It's a good question, and I know where you're going with it. It flummoxed me for a little bit. If a dung beetle male steals another male's dung beetle ball, but the female has already laid her eggs in the dung ball, am I right? Will the stealer of the dung ball... will he continue with that dung ball, or will he go off and search for another female? Did I get that right? Yes. Okay, that makes sense. It makes total sense because obviously now he hasn't done any of the hard work, but he's gone and stolen a dung ball and he's not actually propagating his own genetics. So your question is, will he even bother with that situation, or will he try and seek another female that isn't impregnated by the male? And the answer to that, Kyle, is it doesn't, as far as I can think of, it doesn't happen unless I'm mistaken about exactly when they lay their eggs, but as far as I can think, that doesn't actually happen. So the female, as far as I know, will only lay her eggs in the dung ball once it is being buried. So unless that male is very fortunate and comes, well, not very fortunate because then he's too late, but only if that male happens to come upon the dung ball during that time period or before that time period, then he can steal both the dung ball and the female and propagate his own genes. Otherwise, he won't bother to waste his time. Once he sees that the dung ball is starting to be buried, he's not going to bother. And also, with the rolling of the dung ball, the quite literal rolling is in the moving of the dung ball. I'm looking for these lines, by the way. That's where we're going. I'm estimating where they're going to go. I'm guessing where they're going to go. Once the dung ball rolling commences, as the dung beetle's rolling it along, if that makes any sense, the soil starts to cover the dung ball and it loses the scent that attracts dung beetles in the first place. And therefore he's going to be far less bothered with trying to steal something like that, and would actually probably rather just go and look for another one to steal. So your question is good in the hypothetical, but it's unlikely to happen in real life, if that makes sense. Unless maybe dung beetles are able to be fertilized by multiple males. That I don't know the answer to. I do not know the answer to whether or not that is possible physically. There's a carcass there. Oh yes, so there is. Oh, I remember this carcass now. I thought this looked familiar. Sorry, I got distracted. I thought you were pointing to that bird that was fluttering about. I was trying to figure out what it was before we put it on camera, but it was a batis. Now, this was the buffalo that the Nkuhumas killed quite a long time ago. One thing we have noticed is they are slowly but surely moving further and further afield with those cubs, which means that the Nkuhumas are going to start utilizing their home range more and more effectively over the next few weeks and months. And that means in turn that we're not going to see as much of them, which is going to be really very sad. Okay, I'm not going to try and go all the way into this block and out the other side. It's going to be a little bit too difficult. And I could go 20 meters off in the wrong direction or 20 degrees off in the wrong trajectory and miss the lines completely. I knew I recognized the spot. Where Nkuhuma's cubs playing in trees. It must have been about... Was it before or after I went on leave? Must have been before I went on leave. Time has a wonderful way of merging into one. Okay, let's do a backwards safari, shall we? Backwards off-road. No, let's not do that because I'm about to drive into a tree. I can't see any sign of these lions. She must have pushed further in. And without going for a little walk, it's going to be tricky to find them. Well, at least one of us is having the big cat luck this afternoon. It seems as though Brent, of course he was successful. Let's go over to him and Karula.
Well, with the Queen of Djuma, Karula, and all the troublemakers, look at them. Naughty little rascals. Hosanna and Shongile. Now, Rexon kindly called us in. She is just south of the boundary. I was busy tracking her, as you know, up near Nyala Road South. We've got her tracks in the drainage line, so fingers crossed. She's murdered some poor unsuspecting Steenbok or Impala and is bringing the cubs back to Djuma. Yeah, so there they are. That's little Shongile there. They've grown so much, it's hard to believe that just under 10 months ago we found them when they were about 6-7 hours old, and they were just little sausages. Okay, let's have a look. Now, I'm trying to see if there's any blood around Karula's face. We can't really see at the moment. Look at Asana, he's getting big, isn't he? I'm hoping. There we go. Now, there we go. She's much more fat than she was when we saw her this morning. Look at that. She's lost that indentation in the belly. So, and she's up on the move. I'm pretty sure she's made a kill on Juma and she's on her way back to us. Hopefully she hasn't made a kill just there. She might go for a drink. I'm just going to get us into a position where we might be able to see around that leadwood. Let's have a look. Are we going to get a view from here? We are. Hello, Sven. Sven would like to know how old these cubs have to be before they start hunting for themselves. Sven, you probably find they've made some small kills by themselves already. Banded mongoose, dwarf mongoose, squirrels, maybe a bird or two, a baby tortoise. But before they're old enough to take down something big like an impala or a nyala, they're probably getting to the age where they might be able to grab a baby impala or a baby steenbok or even an adult steenbok. But there have been records of leopards becoming independent at the ripe old age of 9 months, so actually younger than Shongile and Hasana, but normally males 2.5 years and females about 1.5 years. And you can see Hasana, he's nearly the same size as Karula. It's like, Mom, I can smell dinner on your breath. Take me there, please. I know it's hot, but let's just get there. Now here comes the independent little Shongile. Now look at that, you can see the size difference between the boy and the girl. Hey, Troubles. Stop for a quick drink at Baboon Pan. Here she comes, heading straight for us. Isn't that wonderful? As I said, those had her tracks, probably about 1.5 kilometers from here. And when Rex called me, oh, jogging in. Oh no, you're not going to jump. Come on, Mom. I'm fat, but I could definitely eat more. There we go. Let's get back to where they're going to cross the road next to us. Now this is really, really cool. We're going to be able to follow them for quite a way. And judging from where I had her tracks, where she made the kill is quite a long way away from where we are now. So you probably find there's going to be lots of stops starting. Say when, Jandre. Good. There we go. Oh, she's going to go scent mark on top of the hippo scent mark. Good jump, Shongi. Good practice jump there. Here comes trouble number one. So as you can see, in areas where leopards aren't persecuted, and even when it's hot, they will move through the day. Of course, they generally prefer to move when it's cooler or when it's dark. But as you can see, she's taking... Oh. Are we going to attack, brother darling? There it goes, there she goes. Oh, she got spotted And Hasana ran away. There we go, the royal family of puma. Absolutely nonplussed by the vehicles. There's Karula and Shongile. Hasana is about to pass behind us. Little trouble. Giving Jean-Ray the evil eye. Hello, guys. What you doing? There we go, you can see how close they come to us. They're really not bothered by us. Now Sven's wondering, if the cubs aren't hunting, what are you doing in there, Karula? If the cubs aren't hunting on their own, how often does the mom have to kill? Well, it depends on what she kills. If she kills anything small, like a duiker or a steenbok, she needs to kill every 2 or 3 days. If it's something big, like an impala, probably 3 or 4 days. Going to inspect what Mom was inspecting. Probably can smell some dwarf mongoose in that area. Okay. They're going to disappear. Let's catch up with them. What is his son? Has he got himself into trouble? No, Karula's just jogging to make sure he hasn't. He disappeared over a wall there. Isn't this awesome? What a way to start Sunday fun day. Thought I had a flat tire as I said that, but fortunately not. What are you doing? Oh, they've seen a terrapin. You can just see the water moving where the terrapins jumped into the water. Now, it's old Hasana who's still showing interest in the terrapin. That could be quite funny if he fell into that mud. Oh, are you going to jump? No, he's going to take the bridge. See, I saw a terrapin just pop down there, and he's very interested in chasing it, but that's normal for a leopard of this age. Okay, about to disappear from you. We're going to move again. See, it is really hot, so even though I'm pretty certain she's made a kill somewhere, she's moving a little bit, stopping in the shade, resting a bit. you'll notice the cubs are quite playful, quite excited. They can probably smell the meat on her. Oh, Jandre, look at Hosanna. He's picking his way through the thorns below Taxon there. Now, yeah, no, he can't get through. So the reason these thorn trees are there is to promote grass growth on the banks and stop runoff. But he thought he could find a way to go visit old Fan on Tax's tracker seat there, but decided no, he's going to come back down. Not really drinking, more just playing. So there we go, little rest, up and at him again. Look at her, she's so close to us. She's under Jandre's bottom. Okay, Jandre, I'll move the car for you. Oh, is he chasing a snake? He just chased something. It could have been a lizard or a snake. I just saw a tail disappear. Oh, he's given up. He's given up. But it looked like it maybe a big, well, one of the plated lizards. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'm just letting Rexon go past. Isn't this absolutely wonderful? What a great way to spend a Sunday afternoon. A lazy Sunday afternoon following leopards through the African bush. Who could ask for anything better? Okay, well, we're going to try figure out where Karula's going. She's just gone into some thick stuff. So while we do that, let's go say good afternoon to Byron.
Testing. Don't know what happened. Okay, so you should be hearing me now, everyone. So our walk was disrupted a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. We're still going to head out. Hopefully we don't have any further issues and see what we can find with a little bit of time we have left. We're out on the clearings now, not far from camp, and I'm hoping that we have quite a little bit of insect activity. It is a much warmer afternoon, and insects do like to come out in the heat, and especially after the rainfall that we had fairly recently. So let's start walking around and having a look. I was hoping to find, well, this is very old elephant dung just over here, but my plan for the afternoon was to try and find some elephant on foot. Now you can see this has been broken down completely. This is very, very dry old elephant dung, and it's so dry and old, termites have started to get into here. So the elephant dung is very, very coarse, and there's a lot of plant material in it, like these sticks and leaves. So termites will feed on that, and this very, very old elephant dung has been taken over by termites. There's a lot of sand in that around that the termites have obviously built up. You can actually see underneath there. Look at that. completely filled with sand from the termites, and there's a little dung beetle in there, it looks like it, yeah, just over there. So a lot of insects benefit from elephant dung, and it's wonderful to see even after, I mean, this is very, very old. This has probably been here for, probably a few months at least. So this has been here a long time, but it's just incredible to see how animals and insects benefit from something just like elephant dung. And I was hoping to find some elephant on our walk this afternoon. Who knows, we might still have some luck. And it's always really, really great to find elephant on walk. I love walking into elephant and viewing them on foot. Very different experience. And you can get a little bit nervous at times having these big animals close to you, but it does give you a different perspective of things while you're on foot and walking around and viewing these animals. Let's have a look here. There's a termite mound. So this doesn't look like it's too active at the moment. Very, very hard termite mound, but it's always nice just to have a look around. You never know, you could find something trying to burrow in. Brandon, you wanted to know what we do if we bump into animals on foot. You say even though the animals are used to people around, and they're not actually, Brandon, they're not used to us on foot, not at all. The animals that we do view from vehicles and that in this area, they become somewhat habituated to the vehicles, not necessarily the people. Obviously the sounds and the smells, yes, but when we're on foot, we do stand out a little bit more. We look very, very different, and we appear to be a predator. So animals are very, very wary of us, and they do react to us. So if we bump into something, some of the larger animals, perhaps a predator, lion, leopard, or even the larger herbivores like buffalo or elephant, we do need to be very, very careful. Ideally, you'd want to see them before they see you. But the main thing, and there are only one or two reactions that you're going to get. So if you have to walk into something and surprise it, if you're lucky enough to be that quiet for one thing, because usually animals hear us way before we get close to them. So what will happen is if we bump into something and we surprise it, one or two things are going to happen. It's going to, one, act aggressively, charge us, and try and get us away from it as quickly as possible. Or it's going to get up and run away from us because it's going to get a fright. Those are the only two reactions you're most likely going to get. So generally animals do prefer moving away from us because, again, we appear to be predators, and they're not sure what we are. But if they do feel threatened, they will act aggressively. And that's the main thing, is even on a walk, as long as you don't cause the animal to feel threatened, and we try to be respectful, and we try our best to approach cautiously, very quietly. The best thing to do on a walk is if you can view an animal without it knowing you are there, and watch it reacting as it would normally without any danger around. That is the best sign of a good walk. Let's have a look here. There we go. Look at this, everyone. A beautiful dung beetle. And it's rolled an incredible ball. And there's another one. Look at that. Now, I wonder what's happened here. Let's just watch this for a second. Look how perfect that ball is. I wouldn't be surprised. So what is happening here is this dung beetle has attracted a female, and I'm assuming that this is the female over here hanging on, and that is the male busy digging a hole at the moment. And what he's trying to do is he's going to try and bury this ball. So he's trying to dig a little hole, bury that ball, and what usually happens is with these dung beetles, these big roller dung beetles, they roll a ball, the male rolls a ball, and then attracts the female. The female will sit on it, just like this female is doing now, and he then rolls that dung ball away with that female holding on. He will then find a spot to try and bury the ball, and those dung beetles will mate. And then what happens is the female will usually go with that male again, possibly roll another ball. They then roll that off again, come back, and then try and bury it. And what the female does is she lays a single egg inside that dung ball. And with that dung ball then being buried, once the larva hatches, it then feeds on the dung ball and then forms a pupa inside that dung ball while it's still buried. And then as the dung beetle hatches out, it is able to dig its way out from that dung ball and out of the soil, and then continue, and most likely the next season it will come out and do basically the same process that the adults did. Isn't that amazing? And look how perfectly that female packs that ball. So I think this is potentially a ball where the female has laid an egg in that ball already, and they're now going to bury this ball, because she's packing it very, very finely and perfectly, and that male is still trying to dig a hole underneath it. It really is. This is fascinating to see. So wonderful to see little creatures like this, and just see how incredible nature is. I mean, for these insects to know how to do this, to survive, and also get rid of all the dung. You know, they play a huge role in an ecosystem, a vital role in the ecosystem, getting rid of the dung, because they feed on the dung and bury it. It decomposes a lot quicker, and they do play an incredible role. But look at that. That huge dung ball is completely in the soil at the moment. Shadow Koi, you would like to know how big can a dung ball get from a dung beetle. Now, I have seen dung balls around that size, if that's a clear indication. So it's a bit difficult to really gauge, but about that size. I've seen dung balls that big before. This one that we saw now was about that big. So around about that size, so it can get much bigger, and the dung beetles can get much bigger too. We do have other species of dung beetles that are a little bit bigger, but this is one of the largest ones. And look at that, the female's also completely in that hole at the moment. It's incredible to see. Now I wonder how the male is going to get out of here. It would be interesting to see if he can get out. Some birds calling around us in the distance. A crested barbet. Very distinct call. There's a dove that's calling too. Some flies around. But wasn't this incredible? That's so special to see. I'm so glad we got to show you that. And just as I thought, after the rainfall, you start seeing a lot more of this activity, because the ground and the soil is a lot softer, and it's easier for the dung beetles to dig holes and bury dung. All right, we're going to continue our walk. Let's head over to Jamie, who's got some lions for you.
How amazing is it that Byron managed to find you a dung beetle rolling its ball, just as how we were discussing earlier. And another amazing thing, we have found our pair of lions that we started off our Sunset Safari looking for. Lo and behold, actually I say we have, the Arethusa, well in fact Lazarus from Simbombili actually found them for us, not far away from Red Dam on Arethusa. And our pair of lions have been very, very busy while we've been away. There's amber eyes over there, and there is what I mean when I say that they have been very, very busy. At some point between the Sunrise Safari and the start of our Sunset Safari, they have caught and killed a young male buffalo. And they're obviously so exhausted from the whole process that they haven't even really bothered to begin snacking upon it. They've eaten a little bit of the face and they've just left it for now. So obviously it was an exhausting thing. Our Amber Eyes was particularly hungry when we saw her this morning. She was clearly interested in hunting and not in him at all. But he seemed to be, he was intent on making sure that she paid him the attention he feels as though he was due. And she kept trying to hunt impala, she kept trying to stalk something, and he kept kind of getting up too close to her and ruining the whole thing, and she didn't get her meal, but luckily she has managed to get it. The question is, though, because she is hungry, why she hasn't eaten, and just looking at her belly now, she hasn't eaten all that much at all. I don't know if he is denying her access to the kill. It wouldn't be the first time that we've seen that sort of behavior on these live safaris, especially, in fact almost always, in a situation where a female is coming into estrus or coming into heat. And the male just doesn't seem to want to let her be distracted by anything, whether it's other lions or whether it is food. He just wants to make sure that she knows knows that he's still around and still waiting patiently. And that's exactly what Mfumo, this big male lion, has been doing. Our male lions generally, when there is food around, they tend to take the lion's share. They're bigger, they're stronger. They're more willing to share with their cubs than they are with the lionesses, because of course their cubs are direct descendants. They are related to them, but they are generally quite greedy and quite possessive over the kills. But he's obviously, neither of them can be that hungry, since both of them have hardly eaten anything. They're just relaxing. It's a hot day. It did get much hotter, and that's probably, Amber. Pooh. You think it's the buffalo? I'm not sure. I think that was a lion. I think that was a release of digested, I don't know, I think that smelt a little bit too rancid to be a couple of hour old buffalo. Maybe it just skimmed you and it got me. A release of some gases from the lions have just hit us, or at least me. That seems to be okay. I can smell the buffalo, but it's not too bad at all. It's still relatively fresh. The flies have gathered en masse, as they have over the last few weeks since the rains. There are much, much more of them in number, and I can hear them buzzing round and round and round. And I have to be honest, I have a degree of reluctance to allow them to sit anywhere near me or on my person, especially since they've been occupied on the buffalo. Ugh, no thank you. I know that Steph and myself both share the exact same revulsion when it comes to especially the large carcass flies, the ones with the big red heads and green bodies. They're the ones that go and sit on the big carcasses, and they're the ones that carry all sorts of really nasty germs and bacteria. And of course also lay their eggs. Now, having seen what happened to poor Mfumo's face at one point, he had an injury that turned into an infection, that turned into a maggot infestation on his face. I have become even more reluctant to let a fly anywhere near me. It happens. I mean, Scott used to be amazing at it. Scott used to sit and he'd present, and this thing would crawl up his nose and into his ear. Oh, it sounds like something really exciting is happening with Brent. Let's go over and have a look.
Hosanna has found 2 tortoises, and he was scooping them around. It looks like he's almost lost interest in them now. Let's see if they move an inch. 2 leopard tortoises, one quite big, one probably good 50 years old, and the other a bit smaller, a bit younger. Now, we had some trouble keeping up with these leopards through very steep drainage, but we've caught up with, I can't see where Karula and Shongile are. But I'm guessing they're back in the direction Hosanna is going. Well, a tortoise didn't keep his attention for very long. Okay, time to keep following. They are taking us on a wild chase. Karula took us on a relatively wild day, so wild we couldn't keep up with her this morning, but hopefully with the 2 cubs moving a bit slower, we'll have a bit more success. Oh, she's coming back. Alexander going to make one last jump for his tortoises. Now, how's that? We've got leopard. We had a leopard and a leopard tortoise in the same shot. Isn't that incredible? Oh, there we go. The little one's decided it's safe to get out of here. The bigger leopard has disappeared. Poor tortoise. Okay. We do apologize if you have quite a bit of noise. We are about to go through some very thick monkey orange areas. So the scraping is just them scraping on the vehicle. But we want to keep up with her because I'm pretty sure she's going back to a kill. So we're going to stick with her. And so happy what I was hoping. I was predicting in hope on the Sunrise Safari that she would make a kill, go back during the day, fetch the cubs, and we would find her on her way back to the kill. And that's exactly what's happened. Isn't that absolutely splendid? Don't you love it when a good plan falls into place? And what a difference a few weeks makes. Look at this layer of green. I mean, not that long ago, there wasn't even a blade of grass growing around here. Where are you off to, Mr. Hassano? Why are you not sticking? Oh, no, he's changed his mind. Now he is sticking with the others. Just trying to find, see, this is it. It's not genre being a shoddy cameraman. It's actually the angle we're sitting at. We're sitting at about 30 degrees on that side of a termite mound. I'm trying to find the least thick way through this block. As you can see, there's a wall of monkey oranges in front of us while we negotiate our way through. Let's go back to Jamie with the buffaloes and lions.
Here is something that we really do not see every day. This is in fact very, very unusual. We always see red-billed oxpeckers on buffalo. We don't see them on dead buffalo. This is quite a unique sighting. This red-billed oxpecker has landed on the buffalo carcass that the lions have killed and is now hopping around, catching not ticks, which was my first thought, because it takes a while for the ticks to drop off a dead buffalo. Sometimes they don't at all. There are special ticks that specialize in carcasses, but it's not often that the lions let anything anywhere near. But these oxpeckers are catching, there's another one, these oxpeckers are catching flies. That is really, really cool. You go, oxpeckers. Yes, there. Got it. That is amazing. I didn't actually, to be completely honest with you, I had no idea red-billed oxpeckers had those sort of reflexes. I always thought because they generally just eat ticks, that they didn't really have to be fast moving. But I take back that entire thought process because they are. They're catching flies in midair, and there's a whole flock of them that have descended upon this buffalo and are having an absolute field day. I have never seen this before. It is so cool. I'm not sure whether any of you have ever seen this on the live safaris. Maybe you have. Maybe this isn't a first for you. But this is definitely a first for me. Usually when we encounter these buffalo carcasses, they're either quite old or the lions are too busy feeding on them for an oxpecker to even think of landing. Look at this. They look like little dinosaurs. Rapid head movements, darting forward to catch the flies. There we go, got another one. And I suppose for an animal that picks ticks off the more sensitive areas of animals, catching a fly is no more disgusting than that. And they feed off, and they eat a lot of blood and mucus in their diet. A fly must actually be quite the meal. Fascinating. Are there any more of them now? They're all hidden behind that tree. I know that if I try and get closer, they're going to fly off, and that's not what I want. I want to keep watching this because it is fascinating. There I can see a little red bull flashing. Huh. Well, if you do have any more questions about fascinating stuff like this, remember this is coming to you live from a place at this moment called Arathusa Private Game Reserve, which is in the Greater Kruger National Park of South Africa. And you can send through your questions, and you can do that on #SafariLIVE on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@wildearth.tv. Perhaps you've been to visit some of the wilderness areas and you've seen ox pickers sitting on carcasses picking off flies. This, I haven't. Shaking its head and crushing the fly. Oh, hopping around. I mean, it's got so much in its beak, it actually can't even swallow it. And it's still going for more inside the buffalo's ear. Gert, have you ever seen anything like this? I haven't. That's really, really interesting. I suppose they're an insect eater. Birds tend to have very good eyesight and very fast reflexes, much like Steph when he is trying to catch flies in camp. Steph, by the way, is almost like, what's the guy's name in the Karate Kid that catches the... Mr. Miyagi, yes. Steph is almost like Mr. Miyagi when it comes to flies in camp. And I've never seen him do it with chopsticks, though. And these ox pickers are demonstrating much the same ability. That is essentially what they're doing, catching it in their beak. Not quite chopsticks, but almost. Ox pickers, you are more than welcome to come and sit here in the car. I won't object at all. I won't be bothered in the slightest. It's absolutely fascinating to witness. There's at least 3 of them sitting here catching flies. And the one thing about the diet of an oxpecker, and we'll see them fly off probably in the not too distant future, is that with this amount of blood, and especially blood in their diet, it makes it a very, very salty diet, which means that they are very water-dependent birds. Now, we're probably only about 500 meters or so from Red Dam. Oh, where'd you go? They're all vanished. There's some tree. Oh, there's one on the. There are 2 on the right. At some point, they're going to flutter off and go off in search of water, and then maybe even return back here, depending on what the line's up to. This is so cool. Well, this is a truly interesting sighting. I'm going to sit and wait and see how long they spend here with the flies on the buffalo carcass. But while we do that, let's go and get an update from Byron on foot.
So we found something really interesting again, and we saw basically a clue earlier that this was going on. And have a look down here. We saw elephant dung before being that had been eaten by termites. And have a look here. Now these termites have all... I'm just going to put that back over there where it was. But look at all the termites and how they've fed on this elephant dung. But this has been here for a long time. You can see the soil around this piece of dung around here too. So they've been feeding and breaking this dung down for quite some time. But look at these little termites. These look like harvested termites. But like I said, there are many different species of termites around. Some that don't build massive mounds that we used to see. But it's incredible, all this activity around here. Very interesting to see. And everyone knows what to do. They all have a role and they all do it. And these look like it's just a group of workers breaking down the food and probably supplying it to a queen that may be buried underground somewhere, taking it down into the tunnels directly underneath that piece of dung. And I think that's exactly what's happened over here. Very interesting to see. But they're all over here, this whole little area filled with termites. We haven't come across any wildlife on foot yet. Well, animals rather. Just a few insects. And there's a lilac-breasted roller calling in the distance, but I don't think we'd be able to see it. I think in the back in that very large tree. So we've now headed away from the clearings, and we are heading into a thicker area, much thicker area. So again, in situations like this, we just have to be very, very aware, very, very alert, and keep a lookout for any potential animals that might be lurking in here. And again, it's just a case of being careful, being aware, and keeping an eye out. Just scanning the area. There's another rather large termite mound off to the right, but it doesn't look as if it's active. You might be able to see it over there. Or hang on, it looks like a section of the top is broken. Let's go have a look there quickly. Might be some more activity around that. I haven't seen really fresh elephant dung yet. All the dung that I've been seeing around is very old dung. And that is not good for my plan on trying to find an elephant this afternoon. See, actually, a bit of a false, what's the word? False hope, that's exactly it. Yeah. It looked as if it was open, but it's actually closed up further in there, and this doesn't look like it's been active for very long, for quite some time. The soil on the top, and usually you can tell, and we've seen it in the past with termite mounds that are active. The soil is much darker when they are active because they've been building constantly, but this, and you can see it's very, very hard. This has had time to bake and really harden and solidify. So this has been here for quite some time, and it hasn't been active for fairly long. I'm not exactly sure how long, but I would say probably during the whole winter. Maybe it was active last season, last summer, but at the moment this is very hard and there's no activity around here. But a lot of termite mounds in this area, which is great. So a good sign of a healthy ecosystem, having all these insects around. I'm trying to see if we can't find some other little insects. I think let's head through this way rather, and watch out for some of the trees and that. And as you're walking through here, there's a lot of leaf litter. You'll probably find little grasshoppers flying around, or jumping about perhaps. So I'm just trying to look very, very carefully and see if I maybe disturb one or two. If they jump off, then maybe we can show them to you. A tiny spider web on this bush, but I don't think you'll be able to see it on camera. Let's see. Just over here, a tiny, tiny little spider web. I can't even see where the spider is. And it's so small, the wind is blowing it, or the little breeze, it's not even a wind, but the breeze is blowing it quite viciously. Now imagine having to sit on a web that is blowing in the wind like this all day. I wonder if you'd get seasick. I'm going to keep having a look for any grasshoppers and little insects. I'm walking very slowly, also because I need to constantly keep a lookout, moving through this thick area. But because I'm speaking quite a lot, my voice is probably traveling, and I'm sure any animals that are in this area would have picked up on us by now. Most likely have moved off. There's a very large termite mound in that direction. I'm going to head towards that, because what I can do is use that for a vantage point just scan around and have a look. Actually, here's something interesting. Let's see. This is a little ant lion hole. And I wonder if it is in here. I don't want to disturb it too much, but we might see, if you look closely, we might see if it is active. Disturbing a little bit of the outside, it may kick up some sand because it thinks that there's an insect around. Nothing. There we go. Look at it, opened up there. Now I wonder if it's not in there somewhere. Doesn't appear to be active at all. Often what happens is they kick the sand up and they kick it up against the side wall of that little hole, and the reason for that is then the insects slide down and that antlion buries itself at the bottom of that hole, and as the insect slides down, it'll come out and grab the insect and feed on it. But this actually doesn't look active, even though it looks like quite a fresh hole, but no movement in there. So I don't think that it's active at all. But a lot of little antlion holes around here, which is interesting. Now, B. Wilson, you wanted to know if termites could possibly go back to an abandoned mound and maybe reclaim it and reuse it. I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Usually the termites leave termite mounds, and some of them they'll use for 50, 80 years, some termite mounds, these really big ones, even longer and older. But what happens is they'll constantly use it and constantly grow on the termite mound or expand the termite mound, but I don't think if they have left it completely. I've never seen one get abandoned and termites go back, because often what happens is you'll see vegetation growing out of those termite mounds, and that's a good sign it's no longer active. I haven't seen it become active again afterwards. Usually why that is perhaps the water table or the moisture in the soil around that area has dropped, and termites do need a lot of moisture. So once they move off, they've made a conscious decision to go and set up a new colony, and they'd be too busy building on that termite mound to return and take over another or basically reoccupy an old termite mound. They'd be focused on the new one. So no, I don't think they would do that at all. Let's continue up towards this termite mound ahead of me, and we can maybe use that, as I said, as a vantage point to have a look around for potential animals. Hang on, there's a little grasshopper. It's too quick for me, but can you see him? Look how well camouflaged it is. Just over there at the tip of the stick. Can you see that, Vim? There he is. At least he's sitting for us now. Just as I was saying earlier, walking about, you do disturb little grasshoppers and they'll jump in front of you. And look how well camouflaged that little one is. I mean, if you weren't looking for it, or if you don't see it move, you'd probably never see that. Incredible little grasshopper. It's amazing to see how many different shapes, sizes and colors of grasshoppers that we've got around here. Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to stick to my plan, head to that termite mound, but let's head back to Brent with the leopards.
Well, we're still being taken through some of the thickest areas of Djuma by Queen Karula and the cubs, and Taxon and Rexon are still with us. We're not quite sure how we got here so far, so if you do hear lots of bashing and crashing and scratching, we do apologize, but we are in the middle of the bush off the road. And speaking of which way, now this is the biggest thing about following. So we know she's got a kill, that's why none of us want to leave her. We know she's going back to it, but picking the way to get through here is quite the thing. And sometimes you just have to behave like a big elephant bull. And I hope you don't get too many thorns. Of course, we're not quite as well equipped as an elephant bull for dealing with thorns. Watch out, Chandra. That's a charging Ziziphus, that one. Okay. Oh, it looks a little bit more open here. Now, we were following her here. It wasn't very far from here. Here are our tracks from this morning where we lost her. Let me just, sorry, 1 second. Tax Rex is very nice open clearing through here, and you can drive on. Okay, there we go. Where's number 3? 1, 2. Where's 3? 3 o'clock. Ah, there's 3 parallel to us. Isn't that gorgeous little shungile? And the beautiful African sunlight. Now let's hope she keeps on this nice open area. Hi, Tula Ann, who's 4 years old. Tula Ann would like to know, are the babies all grown up now? Not yet, Tula Ann, but they're getting there. Keeping up with mom at the moment. So not yet, probably another 6 months before the female is what we would consider fully grown and she leaves her mom. And the male's probably got another 2, oh, no, maybe not. Oh, she's chasing something. She's got it. What's she after? Look at him go. Oh, Hassan is after a squirrel. Oh, has he got it? I can't see it. It's a pandemonium here. Hold on. Let's get in there. They've chased him up the tree. They're after a little squirrel. I can't get around this corner, can I? That was one lucky squirrel. Or has he caught it? Did he catch it? Hassana caught it. Did he? Did it make it up the tree? No, I think he's got it. He's got the squirrel. Well done, little rascal. So let me rephrase. That was not a lucky squirrel. That was an unlucky squirrel. So, for those of you who remember Sam, that is not a positive squirrel. That is a definitely negative squirrel. Look at him hissing at Kula. That's his kill. Now, as I said, he's probably caught lots of little things before. But this is a first time. Oh, it's no, you silly fool. Oh, shame, the squirrel's making a bit of a noise. He nearly let it go. Oh, he's let it go. He's got it again. And he's playing with his food now. Very, very cat-like behavior. So that's obviously not too much of a meal for him, especially since mom is leading them back. Oh, he is playing with it. Shame, poor little squirrel. Now bite it and be done, mister. Oh, he's let it go. It's got away again. I'm sorry, my head's getting in the way because I'm trying to see what's going on. Where'd it go? Did it go under our car? He's lost it. It's gone into a hole. Sorry, I'm going to do this. Is it gone? Silly fool. Oh, it's still there. It's in a little hole. Okay, so there's a little hole. I'm going to show you. Oh, we can't really see. So there's this log, and and it's gone into a tiny hole. He can't get his paw in there. We can't. There's a car behind us and we'll disturb him. Has he got it again? I mean, I've put my head out here. He's got it again. Don't hiss at me, cheeky one. Yeah, he's caught it again. He got it out of the hole. Unfortunately, he's literally there. Let's try. I can't even see him now. He's in front of the car. Okay. Have you killed it yet? We can't see. No, he's so close to us at the moment. We might be able to move a little bit back. I don't want to scare him. He's literally about this far from the wheel. Okay, maybe if I just try put my foot. Oh no, there we go. And just maybe roll back. Okay, no, I think that's not going to work. We're going to have to. There he goes with it. He's finally got it. He's looking very chuffed with himself. Come on, swallow it whole. I can't see. Oh, there's a little shongile. I'm just looking where the others are. So that answers a lot of questions whether the cubs do hunt. They do. They hunt lots of small things: squirrels, dwarf mongoose, banded mongoose. Now, I wonder if Karula's going to wait for him to eat his big meal before leading them back to wherever the other carcass is, or is she going to put pressure on him to swallow it? He might not even eat it. I've seen little leopards catch squirrels and then just abandon them. Oh, it's not so fun. It's not running away anymore. Oh, unfortunately, it is still blinking. It's almost like he's trying to make it run again. It's not so fun now that it's not running away from him. Run, squirrel, run! Oh, it is still alive. Not by much. Oh, no, it is. It was playing dead. Is it going to escape again? Has it escaped or has he got it again? Let's move a little bit. Sorry. Silly boy. As I said, I think it's more fun. It's more of a toy than a meal. It's escaped. Don't know how healthy it's going to be after escaping the jaws of a leopard. Now, that squirrel's gone right into that thorny, fallen down knobthorn thicket, and he's charged in there to try and pull it out. Well, it's quite interesting. We can't see exactly what's happening, but I'm sure he's probably caught up with that poor squirrel again. Now it's really thorny in there, so even for a leopard who's quite tough, that's probably quite uncomfortable. Oh, there we go. See, he's got thorns stuck in his face. What? Where'd the squirrel go, bud? Oh, trouble's coming. Shongile is now starting to get a little bit closer, take a bit more of an interest. Who knows, maybe the squirrel will run in her direction. Show her brother how to do it. Oh, he's stuck in the thorns. Ow. I think that squirrel's actually escaped. It's managed to get right into a big, thick pile of thorns. Where's that squirrel? Has he lost it? Oh, here comes Shongile. Maybe she's smaller. She's going to be able to get into that thorny thicket. Has he got it? Or has he just got thorns in his face? That serves you right for going into a thorn thicket, you Nana. He's just hooked onto every thorn. He's trying to bite the thorn out. You're going to get a lip piercing at this rate. And the squirrel moves and his attention's immediately drawn away from the thorn attached to him. Look at how he's trying to remove the thorns from... There we go. It looks like he's got himself out of there. The squirrel has made a disappearing act. Maybe there was a hole or something it managed to get down. Well, this could be very interesting. What is young Shongile going to do? And if you, here we go. Look at her. She's been sneaking closer and closer to where Hasana lost that squirrel. Oh, it looks like he's giving up. Now, I wonder whether young madam is going to... Yes, she is. She's going to go see if she can find it. Now, let's see if she's a bit smarter than her brother. Look at that tail. Look how the tail's going. Maybe she'll be able to get that squirrel out of there. Now, the next question is, will Hasana become interested again or a little jealous? See, she seems to go at the problem solving a little bit more datingly than her brother. Look at that, she's got flat onto her tummy. Oh, the squirrel's gone up into the branch. The squirrel's still alive. There we go. She got him. That squirrel's gone right into those thick thorns. It jumped up onto the branch. I think she might have... No, she hasn't managed to pull it down. This is a very resilient squirrel. Look, there she goes. She's going for the squirrel. But it's really thorny in there. Did the squirrel fall down to the ground? I didn't quite see what happened there. Oh no, she's got it. She's got it. She's got it in her paws. Now, getting herself out of there is going to be interesting. Oh, she's dropped it. Oh dear. Kula, your cubs are not covering your in glory in today. They're showing to be a little bit clumsy. Now she's got to try and get down back to the bottom of that thorny thicket. I'm glad I'm not in that thorny thicket. Let's just leave it at that. Here we go. Again, same tactics as her brother, using her mouth. Oh, she's out. But has the squirrel now finally succumbed after multiple attacks by multiple leopards? Oh, she's going in. That's about where the squirrel fell. Surely it must be all over for the squirrel now. I can hear the squirrel making noises again. How How is that squirrel still alive? She got it? I can't see. Oh, she's still trying to get in there. I mean, put it this way. If you and I tried to get into that thicket, we would be lacerated to the point of hospitalization. Back in. She doesn't want to give up. She hasn't given up yet. I wonder how long the patience will last. Has she got it finally? No. This is absolutely enthralling. Is she going to give up? Or is she going to keep trying to get that measly 5 grams of meat out of the bottom? Is it a matter of principle now? Well, I can still hear that squirrel. Just make it out. This is absolutely fascinating. And will she come out successful is the question. Oh. No, missed. Come on, little shongi. That squirrel's obviously got itself into a really, really good spot. Oh, she's got it. She's got it. Has she? It looked like she got it. Looks like she bit it. Well, hopefully she's going to bring it out. Oh, it's so difficult to see through those thick thorns. Oh, I heard the squirrel move again. That squirrel's jumping up into the tree again. Can you believe the squirrel is still alive? So it's just off to in front of her. There he goes. He's trying to climb the tree, the poor little squirrel. Oh, there he is. He's on the ground right in front of her. She shouldn't miss. Oh, she missed. How did you miss that? There's the squirrel. You can see her paw trying to grab it. Let's stay on the squirrel. She might come around to it. See if she problem solves this. There we go. She's coming back in. Oh, so close. Here, you can see the noise the squirrel's making there. Shame. Oh, it's still just managing to get away from her. How that poor little squirrel is still alive. There, look, you can see her paws coming through. Oh, she's coming around from the other side now. Come on, this should be it now. Oh, how does it do it? There we go. Get it. There we go. Thank goodness. Put the poor squirrel out of its misery. Success. A team effort between the two cubs, Shongile and Hosana. I think now, it looks by the way she's holding it, it's finally, hopefully, over for the poor positive squirrel. There we go. Is she going to go show her mom or is she going to try? Oh, now hissing at Hosana. Let's try just move back a skosh. Oh. Or forward a skosh. There we go. Success at last. That took a long time for such a tiny meal. Now, the interesting thing is, Greedy Guts Hassan going to steal it from her. Well, theoretically, he did make the initial kill. And he is on his way. He is watching her. I'll let you know if he gets close enough to swing out to Jandre. A squirrel snack. Now, this is the thing about spending a lot of time with these animals. The longer you spend with them, the more chance you've got of seeing the incredible behavior like this. That's directed at Mr. Hassana, who's laying down a little bit too close for Shongile's comfort. Look, she's still got a thorn tree stuck in her face. Well, that's not going to stop her getting stuck into her squirrel. Well, her stolen squirrel. One leg off. Now, guys, I know if you are sensitive, you might not like watching these things. Please be aware that this is nature at its most raw. And there goes the brain casing. Crush, crush. It is necessary for these animals to eat meat, and sometimes they do kill things in a way we would consider inhumane. But to them, it's the only way they know how. Now, it shouldn't take too much longer to wolf down the squirrel. Oh, she doesn't like the squirrel hair. See, even on an animal as small as a squirrel, there is the instinct to pluck the fur. Even though probably they swallow more impala fur on any one impala kill than they would eating a squirrel whole. Just keeping a watchful eye on her brother. go. Munchity munch, munch, munch. Well, hurry up and finish so your mom can lead us off into the other kill, the bigger kill that's waiting. And she keeps looking up at her brother. Now, all these little hunts and kills like this are incredibly important in developing their hunting skills. Now, the hunting skills are instinctive. They don't have to be taught by their mother, but they are honed in these little hunts of squirrels and mongoose and francolin and the such. And of course, it's a bonus snack. Look at that. Munchty munch, munch, munch. Making sure young Hosanna actually initially caught the squirrel. There he is. But then lost it and then gave up trying to get it out of the thorny undergrowth of a pushed over knobthorn. Yes, you silly. And his sister then went and took over and was successful. Oh, let's have a look how much squirrel's left. Now once she's finished the squirrel, hopefully the rest of the family will move on to where there's hopefully a much bigger kill waiting. Who would have thought a squirrel could last a leopard this long? Now, this is the first time we've witnessed one of the cubs actually catch and kill something. And it has been incredible. A really, really fascinating little play out. Both cubs being involved. And in the end, success for Shongile. Munchity munch, munch, munch. Well, the squirrel's nearly done. I was hoping to see whether young Hosanna decided to try and make a play at... Oh, there we go. Hiss, hiss, hiss. And Hosanna's going back to mom. And there's almost no squirrel left. So we're going to keep with the royal family, see what happens next. While we do that, let's go see what Byron's up to on foot.
Isn't that incredible, that interaction with the cub and the squirrel? That's fantastic, and it's amazing how they learn from a young age and what they learn on hunting. And something like a squirrel is not easy to catch, so it's incredible how these little leopards are able to catch them. We've come back towards the clearings. Not too much luck in the thickets. We didn't find any animal movements around there. We saw one or two impala briefly, but it seemed to be a quieter walk this afternoon, which happens at times in terms of just animal movement around where we were. But I've come back just to have a look around some of these tree stumps and that in the clearings, and to see if we can't find any little insects that might still be active or moving around. I was hoping to find another scorpion, just like we did this morning. We found that beautiful little scorpion, but it doesn't seem like we've had any luck yet. Again, just a lot of termites. It's amazing how many termites you start finding when you do look for them. And hang on, what do we got here? Now, I want to see if I can pick this up. It's a little insect, but I can't really see what it is. Look at this little guy. What is that? It's covered in dirt, so well camouflaged. Wow, it really is caked in soil. Isn't that fascinating? I just saw the movement, but I have no idea what it is. Oopsie, there it goes. Oh, it's disappeared again. No, there it is, just moving back into that little hole. That is fascinating. I don't know what that was, but so well camouflaged. It looked like just a piece of dirt moving along. It's incredible. It's so fascinating how many tiny little creatures you can find around here. Let's see if there's anything else. Not too much around here at the moment. But I can see all the termite damage to these trees after they've been killed by the elephants. You can see just how these trees have been eaten up. And look at that, all these layers that have been peeled off by the termites. It's actually a beautiful pattern that is left here. It really is incredible just how well they're able to break down the wood material. Well, I suppose that's the end of our bush walk for today. It seems the sun's setting behind us, a beautiful sunset with that cloud cover. And I think you're going to have even better colors a little bit later. But from myself and VM on camera, and of course Herbert, hope you've enjoyed our bush walks this morning and this afternoon. We're going to head back to Jamie now. We'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone.
The sun is indeed setting, and those on foot have to head home. But never fear, the safari continues on the back of 2 vehicles, and I thought I'd just stop for a moment and take in some really beautiful scenery and just listen to the sounds of the bush. It really is a beautiful evening, and there's nothing like a towering dead tree to really give the scenery an extra dramatic flair. Isn't that beautiful? A little bit of calm after what sounds like a truly frantic leopard sighting that you've all been enjoying. Karula's cubs are coming along quite literally in leaps and bounds. I'm truly impressed with their hunting skills. One of the other reasons that I've stopped here to take in the scenery is I'm patiently waiting for my chance to go and see Tingana, who is about 20 meters away from where the lions are. Not quite 20 meters, sorry. Probably about 200 meters. I missed off a 0 there. Probably about 200 meters, 200 odd yards away from where the lions were left sleeping. I've left them to give room for some of the other vehicles to have a chance to show their guests. And now we're just waiting to go and join Tingana at Red Dam, one of his favorite spots, and go and catch up with Mr. T and see what he's been up to. Apparently he's just finished off an Inyala kill, so he was very, very thirsty. He's gone to have a drink at Red Dam, and now we are just waiting for our chance to go and join them. And we'll start slowly mixed up words. Start slowly trundling in that direction. Been stopping to enjoy the scenery. Sorry, I just have to listen to the lineup for that leopard. What we try and do is we control how many vehicles are around an animal. So for our new viewers, that's what we're doing. That's why I said we're waiting for our chance to see him. It's to make sure that the animal doesn't get over pressurized, it doesn't have lots and lots of vehicles swarming around it, and also just to make sure, that's very interesting. To make sure that we respect the environment that we're in. Sorry, distracted by a giant land snail. Now, is this just a giant land snail shell, or is it in fact an entire giant land? Is it a complete giant land snail? Usually when they're brown like that, they are quite happy and alive. But what we might be seeing, I'm just going to go jump out and have a look. I'm not going to bother him too much if it is alive. Just want to have a look and see. No. Empty shell. Now there we go. It's actually a shame. It was a really nice, a big giant land snail. Absolutely massive. They truly are an incredible snail, probably bigger than most of the snails that perhaps you get in your gardens or that you've seen. And this was an old snail, so he's still got pigment around the outside, sort of the parts of the shell that grow. But the older parts of the shell, along here, towards the end, have become bleached and white. And usually when you see a shell with its pigment still around, there's usually a snail living inside it. But this one, this poor hapless snail, has been caught and eaten by something. I'm not sure what. It could be a number of different things, birds, even insects occasionally, if they do manage to get hold of them and they do manage to swarm, because of course a snail is a very slow moving thing, which makes it an easy target for something like large ants, matabele ants can feed off the inside of a snail shell. And judging by the goo inside, which I don't think you'll be able to see, but I'll try and... Can you see the dried up goo inside? Judging by that, I would say that the poor land snail's demise was a relatively recent thing. Now there's still a little bit of a snail residue. There we go. You see it there, Gert? Perfect. Thank you. Cool. So I shall return... I was going to return it to, but I think I might add it to my ever-growing collection of articles that I'm going to be taking back to James in the tent. Okie dokie. Oh, earlier on, I saw a gecko, which reminded me that I had not yet answered Lindsay's question about which gecko it was that we saw. So Lindsay, you asked a while ago because you were keeping a species list. I don't know if Lindsay is watching, but if you are watching, Lindsay, it was in fact a morose tropical house gecko that we saw the other night. So you can officially add that to your species list. At least from what I could see, it wasn't the best view of a gecko I've ever had. Now, speaking of our shell, we have a question about whether or not I have ever seen a snail without one. And David, you wanted to know whether I've ever seen a snail without a shell. I have not. I have only seen snails with their shells. And the giant land snail, of course, from the moment that they hatch, their shell will grow continuously. They'll hatch as tiny little things, and their shell will continue to grow, and you get these ridges, these grooves, as it lays down the keratin that it needs to produce the shell in these beautiful spirals. So growing up from the body itself. And I'm sorry, I just need to concentrate on the Game Drive channel to try and hear exactly where we are in terms of our future sighting of the biggest, or the dominant male leopard at least, of our area. He's not the biggest. That title goes to the Anderson male, but Tingana is not far off him. And it's been quite a while since we last saw him, and I think we need to go and see him and chat about some of the events that have occurred over the last few days, or the last few weeks. And we're slowly but surely making our way there. Oh, I wondered what smelled so funny. Shame. The buffalo have not done well, or have not been doing well over the last few weeks. And this was a young buffalo. Might have been a lion kill. It could also just have been death by starvation. It's a young buffalo, and of course the hunger will affect the young and the old of the animals out here quickest. Ooh. Sorry, that was a little loud. as we get a little bit closer, it'll be slightly easier for us to be able to hear the Game Drive channel and therefore decide exactly what our route is going to be from there. It's going to be a really, really stunning evening. One thing I have noticed though is that it's quiet. In terms of the general game species, at least in this part of Arathusa, the impala, warthog, there's not much hiding around these areas, and I don't know if it's because it's only recently started to go green since we've had a little bit of rain. That might be why it is so quiet. And perhaps the animals have moved on to slightly better grazing areas. I can't believe we're going back to see Tingana at Red Dam. It seems to be his favorite spot. Are there any stations still on standby for Tingana? While I go off in search of my leopard, let's go over to Brent, who is still with his.
We have come to the end of a very long road, and we found where Karula's got the kill, where she's been leading these cubs to, but like the area she's led us through, oh sorry Jean-Andre, it is let us say, not for ants. Well, actually it's probably best for ants, not for Land Rovers. Oh, you could get through the gap there, Jean-Andre. I can just see him on the forward. Now I can go back. So, I don't know, I'll try to find a better view, but at the moment, that's our best view through that little tunnel there. No problem. So there's a little tunnel through there. That is our best view. It looks, I don't know what it is. I can just see the flies. It could be an Inyala. It looks like an Inyala. I'm not sure how big it is. It is literally behind a wall of thorns. Oh, oh dear, 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 no. Go away. Now, I've already had very bad experiences with hairy caterpillars once this year. Ugh, evil things. Terrible creature. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what to do here now. I'm trying to figure out how to get a better view. I don't know if there is actually one. See, Taxon's trying from the other side, but it's just as thick. But it's a it's a baby impala. There we go. Not an Inyala. That's from Tax. Okay, now let's try and think about this. Well, let's just sit here for a while. Maybe something will happen, or we'll get a better view. But I don't think so. As we said, Karula's going to be starting to target these baby impalas. But oof. I can see all the flies already there from the hot day, and then that's what we're hoping. Hasana, move it towards us. I don't think he's going to. And you can see, being the bigger of the two cubs, he's immediately eating first. She was sleeping, yeah, just behind him somewhere. There you go, you can see, scoffing it down. Shungila's over there. Karula's lying quite far away. I'm just trying to see. Okay, there's Karula in the distance. I don't know if we're going to get a better view, Jean-Andre. I'm going to give Jean-Andre's going to come out wide and you're going to have a look at this. I mean, it's just impenetrable. And there's all these things being pushed down by elephants. So, oh, pretty beetle. Sorry, so I'm very easily distracted. There you go, nice and shiny. Not a dung beetle, but a pretty beetle. I saw another pretty beetle before I got scared of the hairy caterpillar. There you go, you can see that sort of effervescent glow. What do you think, Chandra? No, the beetles to keep you entertained while I try to figure out what to do next. Oh, just hang on a second. So there's a piece of steel that's getting caught. There's a flap of steel that's hanging. Eesh. It's the plate that protects the bottom of your engine's come loose. And it's hanging down. Sorry about that. Rex was asking me to have a look under his car. It has been a rough ride keeping up with Karula today. And I'm afraid I don't know if we're going to be able to get any better of a view. Oh, we can see the back of him there. So one of the first baby impala of the year is one of the first baby leopard meals of the year. Okay, I think we're going to try and move. I'm not sure to where. I'm just trying to look around us for a potential gap through this incredibly thick area. So while we do that, let's go jump on board with Jamie as she approaches Red Dam.
We nearly have the opportunity to go in and join Tingana. I'm just giving one of the other vehicles a few more minutes to enjoy the presence of that leopard before they move off, and we can make our way in. And I'm just taking in a moment to remember all of the amazing sightings that we have had at Red Dam. For example, the time that the Tsalalas chased Karula up that knobthorn right in front of us. When she ran up that fork on the left and then perched herself there out of their reach. And that was well over a year ago now. Those of you who've been watching since then, you'll probably remember it. As she sort of dangled up there, looking terribly anxious. She was in the process of mating with Tingana, and they were scavenging off a dead buffalo that was in the drainage line not too far from where we are now. And Tingana and Karula had been mating for 2 days here, and then the Tsalalas suddenly moved in, and Tingana and Karula, I think, were so wrapped up in each other that they didn't realize, and they started making their way back towards the buffalo, only to be chased by the 3 young male Tsalala. It was amazing. And they were, of course, both fine, which was more amazing. It was a terrifying moment for a second, but they were all absolutely fine. I'm hoping we can make our way in slowly but surely. There she was. That's exactly, Gert showing you exactly what VM did. We slid underneath her, we rolled forward underneath her, and her tail was just dangling delicately from the top there. Amazing the speed and agility with which these animals react to such encounters. Stations with Tingana, can I approach? Sorry guys, we just have to wait. Copy that, thank you. Cool. We can make our way in. Alright, let's go and join Mr. T. I know I shouldn't call him that, I'm sorry. I know it causes great confusion because Mr. T was a Mapocho, male lion. But I can't help it. It's something that slipped in. I'm not sure which of us started it, but it's something that has slipped into our vernacular. Oh, let's turn that down a little. Okay, and there we go. Hello, boy. Hi, Chris. How are you? Good, thanks. Hi, guys. Hi. Sorry, everybody. Just saying hello to one of the other vehicles and their guests. And there he is, Tingana himself, flicking off the flies that are buzzing round his head. He is a truly magnificent specimen in terms of a male leopard. He's all head and shoulders, and his neck seems to sort of blend into the two of them. Just put my handbrake up because the Wendy's making some very funny crinking, groaning noises. You thought it was a leopard? No, I'm afraid not. It's the car trying to roll back into Red Dam. Now, I think the first thing we need to chat about, because of course this is the first time that we have seen Tingana, and I think many of you perhaps will be approaching the sighting with mixed emotions, is just to chat a little bit about what happened the other day. For our new viewers, we had a very strange and relatively inexplicable incident. It wasn't with us, it wasn't on our live safaris, but we did receive a phone call from the witnesses to this particular incident the night that it happened. And it occurred with a female leopard known as Shaluva up in the northernmost reaches of Tingana's territory, so right on the boundary with Djuma up near Buffelshoek. And that particular spot is the intersection between Tingana's territory, Mvula's territory, and a young incoming leopard known as Gijima. And we're not quite sure exactly how it happened. We do know what happened, and we won't go into the details of it. But suffice to say, Tingana was seen on the Sunset Safari making his way into Buffelshoek. And there were some vehicles with this female leopard, Shaluva, who was roughly Karula's age, or she was nearly Karula's age. And Tingana came in and killed her almost instantly. He rushed in, and for some unknown reason, he grabbed her and he killed her. It was a terribly tragic turn of events, and the people that called us were most distraught about what they had just witnessed. Utterly devastated, and for them, of course, Shaluva was she was like the Karula of that Buffelshoek area, so you can imagine how devastating it must have been for them, and completely inexplicable. And the first thing I just want to say is that nature isn't cruel. Nature does things for inexplicable reasons sometimes, but that's only because we're human and we don't understand. I don't know what was going through Tingana's head when he did kill Shaluva, but I would urge you all not to villainize him. He did a bad thing, and I personally don't think he actually intended it. I think he rushed forward. I think he moved into an area that he knows he has rivals in. He thought she was a male, and he rushed in looking for a fight, and because he's double her size, he killed her almost straight away before she even had a chance to fight back. I really think he thought she was a male. That's the dominant theory that we've come up with, but truly we'll never know. We'll never know exactly what went through Tingana's head at that moment. Hey boy, what happened? We don't know. And leopards do things for their own reasons, and life can be really tough out here and violent, and you have to fight for your place and your territory and your right to pass on your genetics. And that's exactly what Tingana was doing. And it was so unfortunate that Shaluva was the victim of it. And of course, she could have been a female with whom he could have mated and passed on his own genes. I just don't think he realized. And she was a little bit bigger than Karula. She was quite a big, stocky leopard. I will comfort you all, though, in that sad situation by saying that I don't think Shaluva suffered at all. We did go through with a Panthera representative to go and collect DNA samples from her after she was killed. Tingana had been, unfortunately, as animals do, they don't waste a meal, so he had been feeding off her, but he was lying up a little bit away from her, and as soon as we got to the carcass, he immediately got up and ran, as soon as we got out of the car. So she is was bigger than Karula. And we didn't see any signs of pregnancy, but that's also entirely possible that perhaps she had cubs that she was trying to protect, that cubs that would not have been Tingana's, so that is possible. We can't dismiss that theory because we don't know. But the dominant theory was that he thought he made a mistake. He thought she was a male. A very, very sad incident, but not a reason for us to hate Tingana. Unfortunately, it is just the way of things out here. And I don't think we need to fear a repeat of that incident. I think it is very, very unusual behavior. There's definitely nothing wrong with him. It's not any kind of disease or anything like that we can see. And Paul, you wanted to know, because I think a lot of people, and it's good to address this, a lot of people were concerned that he might do the same to other females, and maybe even Karula. And yes, we do think there's a good chance that he is the father of Karula's cubs. We don't know for certain. We'll never know for certain until the DNA results come back from the scat samples that we collect. And that could take years, but eventually we'll find out the truth about who the father of Karula's cubs is. I mean, I spoke about the fact that she was mating with Tingana not too long ago around Red Dam. It was a year and a bit ago. And there's a good chance. We saw her mating with him several times. So there is a good chance that he fathered those cubs. He is the dominant male. But female leopards, of course, for our new viewers, female leopards are clever creatures. They know all about how to go about tricking the various males in the area into thinking that they are the father by mating with as many males as possible. And it might just be that Shaluva, unfortunately, didn't mate with Tingana and he didn't recognize her. I don't think, as far as I know, there's no records of Shaluva ever having mated with Tingana. He's snoozing away quite happily, quite oblivious to the drama that he caused. It just doesn't enter into their way of thinking. I think I might go round to the other side. I actually think we might have a really stunning view. Oh, hold on, his head's up. Let me just move out of the way here. Oh, hold on. Shanae's going forward. Sorry, just bear with me one moment. I'm just waiting to see which way Shanae wants to go and if she can get round. And then we can reposition to get to Tingana. Okay, let's keep looking at Tingana for now. It is such a stunning view, and he does have his head up. Hello, boy. I wonder if he knows there's lions there. He's looking in the direction of the lions. I wonder if he's realized that they are around. I don't think so. I don't think he hasn't realized. That was very ambiguous. I don't think that he hasn't realized. I think he knows that there are lions there. Hi, Shanae, how are you? Good, thanks. Thanks very much. Cool. Sorry, everybody, just saying hello to one of the other guides, a name that many of you will recognize, of course. Shanae, who works at Nkoro. He's glancing off in the direction of the lions, and they're not a threat to him, at least at this distance. He's got a nice, sort of prominent spot on the dam wall. He can see around him. And he knows that he is the fastest creature out here in terms of speed. We did actually once see Tingana. Oh, is he going to soar? Or is he just shifting a very full belly? I think he's just shifting a very full belly. We did actually once see Tingana have a very narrow escape from a lioness. That was actually relatively scary. He was hunting and he didn't realize she was there. He wasn't paying enough attention. And she managed to sneak up on him and she had a full run up. So a leopard is faster than a lion. Oh, awesome. A leopard is faster than a lion, but it takes them a while, like all sprinters, to reach their top speed, although they do it much faster than a human being. So he didn't have time to reach his full top speed, whereas she was barreling towards him, and he just managed to leap up into a marula tree and escape her attentions. It was a very close call. Oh, it's so hard to reconcile what we see now in the form of this gorgeous male leopard and the events that occurred the other night. But it is something that just happens in the wild, and it probably is less rare than we think it is. I don't think it's common. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that that happens regularly. But I think it probably does occur more than we realize. Leopards make mistakes. And if he was walking in an area where he could smell other males, perhaps even another male had freshly scent marked. Andrew, you wanted to know whether or not a male leopard would kill its own female cub. No, probably not. But it does occasionally occur, where Tingana has been known. I don't know about known. I have heard stories, and you always have to take them with a pinch of salt, but I have heard stories that Tingana did kill one or two cubs in his sort of early days of his reign, that might have been his, and that he obviously didn't accept as his. Any male cat will kill any female's cubs that are not his own, or that he doesn't realize are his own, as a way of bringing her back into estrus as quickly as possible. So it happens with lions. I mean, the Birmingham boys killed the Styx cubs and some of the Nkuhuma's females, the adult females. It happens with lions, it happens with leopards, and leopards will also kill young males as a way of reducing any possible rivals. But they tend to be much more tolerant of their cubs, and of course Tingana is quite not an old leopard, but he's a mature leopard now. He's been in control for a long time, and he knows how to sort of handle cubs and females. And bear in mind, I've seen him with Karula and her cubs. He's been seen with Shadow and her cubs sharing kills. He's been seen with Karula sharing kills with her and her cubs, and he hasn't done them any harm. He does look absolutely beautiful in this afternoon light. Now, caged on the subject of leopards killing other leopards, you wanted to know if Karula has ever killed another leopard. Not that I know of, and not probably that any of us will ever know of. There's always supposition, and there's always wild stories bouncing about. I think we would be silly to assume that she wouldn't if she came across potentially an unrelated female's cubs that were left unattended. I don't think that the chances of her killing her own daughter's cubs are very slim. But it's not impossible that she could kill cubs of an unrelated female, because they would be competition. I doubt she's done it, but it is possible. And the same applies to all leopards. They don't have the same code of morality. They're not governed by the same rules. They live completely different lives that we don't even begin to understand, or even begin to imagine the difficulties of. So it's possible. Just in the same way that it's possible that a Sindile could kill a young cub. That is what young males do. We just never know. And bear in mind, we spend, I don't know, maybe 2% of their lives with them, probably even less, of their day-to-day, everyday existence. We just don't see everything. Now, speaking of Karula, and just so you know, I'm not saying that she has killed any leopard cubs, let's go back across to Brent to see how she's doing.
Welcome. We're finally, after following Karula for hours through the thickest of the thickest bush, arrived at what she killed, and it is one of the first baby impala of the year. There it is. Oh, so many flies. Hassan has already eaten quite a bit. He ate the liver. And, oh, look at that, the flies are just too much for it. Hassan left because the flies were too much for him. Shongilila seems to be facing a similar problem. They've grown up during a winter period. They haven't had to deal with all these flies before. Fight them, Shongi, fight them. But as I said, we're not going to stay here very long. It's about to get dark. The kill's on the ground. Cubs are here. Just wonderful that Karula managed to catch baby impala for the little ones. And we managed to get a good view. Now, I think they're probably going to wait till the flies settle down as it gets dark before starting to feed. And unfortunately, we're not going to be here. We don't want to be attracting any hyenas into this area. But we're going to go see what else we can find. And there we go. You can see that mass of flies. They don't seem to bother lions as much as they bother leopards. Oh, she does. Shame. Oh, shame, man. Those flies are making it difficult for you to eat, little Shongi. When summer's coming, you're going to have to get used to that, my girl. Here we go. Get tucked in. Okay, while Shongi gets tucked in, we're going to duck out. While we do that, let's go back to another incredible leopard with Jamie.
While the royal family tucks into their meal, we are still with the magnificent Tingana stretched out across the dam wall. Now, just on the subject of spotlighting, typically in this situation with Tingana on the dam wall, I would quite happily sit with a spotlight next to him. However, we are quite literally in the direct eye line of the lions. I mean, they can see us, and I could, when I repositioned, I could actually see them briefly a moment ago. So they've got a kill, and they are right in at the point that they can see Tingana, and whilst I don't think it would make a major difference, it's not a risk I'm willing to take. So we won't be spotlighting Tingana either, just to make sure that we don't have any kind of negative impact on these animals, especially with lions so close. And if I were in a sighting with Tingana and I was sitting here with a spotlight on him and I noticed some lions, I would immediately turn all of my lights off. So we're definitely not going to be risking his safety in any way. Hey boy, what do you say to that? One very sleepy, very full leopard. He's tremendously comfortable, you know, for a leopard that, in my theory, and what I said earlier, who knows that there's lions there, he's got his back to them completely. He's totally turned away from them. And it just goes to show how reliant these animals are on their exceptional senses, especially sense of hearing. He's lying there quite happily, quite contentedly. I can't say that I would be napping so comfortably with lions so close to me. But then again, I can't jump 3 meters up into a tree from a standing start. So perhaps that has something to do with it. A supreme sense of the nature of his reflexes. I definitely can't do what he can do. He could probably jump straight into that tree from where he is and be out of their reach in 2 seconds. Alright, just enjoying the peace of the evening. Listening to the sound of the pygmy or red-chested cuckoo. Laurie, welcome to the Sunset Safari. I'm sorry, I don't quite understand the first part of your question. You've asked who holds territory best. Is it lions, leopards, or hyenas? I'm not quite sure what you mean by best. Do you mean for the longest time period or the most successfully? I'm not quite sure exactly what it is you mean by best. However, in terms of holding territory for the longest period of time, probably lion prides. There's a constant sort of ebb and flow, especially within the males of the species, both male lions and male leopards, and female leopards to a degree. But lion prides generally seem to be the guardians of an area for generations and generations and generations. Yes, they move a little bit and their home range shifts a little bit, but lion prides made up only of females will be the ones that probably, in terms of best, will hold their territories for the longest. Excuse me. Female leopards are in a constant state of flux, and of course they are constantly giving up little bits of their territory to their daughters. Their males disperse, and then male leopards and male lions, it really does just depend on the circumstances. A leopard or a lion could hold a territory for 4 years or 5 years, but if there's another competitor, then they could only hold it for 1.5 years or not even make it to that long. It's very much dependent on external factors. In terms of them competing with And then in terms of fighting each other for the same territory, they don't. So, Glory, they are in competition with each other, so they don't necessarily tolerate each other in the same place. Lions will go out of their way to kill other big cats, as will big cats, all big cats. If a leopard happened upon a hyena cub, it would kill it. Leopards and hyenas generally tend to hang around relatively close to each other without fussing too much. You don't often get leopard-hyena conflict. The hyena might come in and steal the leopard's food, but no, they don't compete for the same territories. So it's not as though each species has to have a distinctive territory. Look at this. I mean, Tingana's 200 meters, no, less than. He's 100 meters away from these lions now, and not at all concerned. So no, they don't hold distinct and separate territories from each other, but they are in competition with each other, and as a result, they could actually kill each other and do come into conflict every now and again. And the biggest conflict, or the biggest situation in terms of an overpopulation of lions, which we don't have here, but does occasionally occur, but as soon as you get too many lions, you lose all of your smaller predators. Not all of them, but you lose a large percentage of them. The other animals are just out-competed, and they either move off or they are killed by the lions. I doubt that Amber Eyes or that male is going to stir, and in fact I think one thing that probably counts in Tingana's favour, whether he realises it or not, is the presence of Mfumo. Now, Mfumo is not a young male lion, so he's not going to be intrigued by the sight of a leopard. He's not going to go out of his way to try and catch Tingana, or he's unlikely to. Young male lions are dangerous things because they're full of curiosity and testosterone, and they want to experiment, and they have that natural instinct to attack anything that they see. But an older, slightly more established male lion is less likely to, and now especially because his attention is diverted by Amber Eyes, I doubt he's going to. She could try and stalk him, but I doubt Mfumo is going to let her. And in the ensuing ruckus created by the two of them coming into conflict with each other, Tingana would probably be up and away and disappearing like a shadow into the night. Speaking of shadow, she has been found on Simbambili. Just by the way, for those of you who have been concerned about her, we haven't seen her in a while. Shadow is Karula's oldest daughter, and she used to spend a lot of time in this area that we're in now, but she has been slowly but surely pushed out by another female, another much larger female actually. Isabella, welcome to the Sunset Safari. While our leopard dozes away quite happily on the ground, you wanted to know if it's common for leopards to sleep on the ground out in the open like this, or if it's just because he feels safe. Leopards are funny things. They are particularly big male leopards who do feel secure in themselves. Oh, good morning. And hello. Flopping over. Leopards are curious creatures. They do strange things and they're unpredictable. Yes, they often sleep out in the open, despite the fact that when you read a textbook, one of the first things it says is that leopards love to hide away in dense vegetation, which they do, but they also don't mind lying out in the open. And I do think there is a degree that he feels safe. Maybe because he knows where the lions are, or maybe just because it is as open as it is, and he's got such a nice high vantage point. So it's kind of like a leopard lying on a termite mound. He's just lying on a dam wall, or a waterhole wall. When it's hot, they sleep up in the tree, where there's shade and there's a breeze, and the earth is not baking them from below. I think he's too full to go up a tree right now, though. Unless he has to. He's still looking in the direction of the lions. They might be up and feeding by now. I'm trying to see if I can see them from here. I can't from my angle. But just to give you an idea, do you see where the dead tree is? let's just try and show you from where we are now, and from where to that dead tree at the back. That is where the lions are. The dead tree is at the back. Oh, and I just think I just heard one of them. There. The lions are roughly there underneath that tree, but hidden in the thicket. So that's how close we are to the lions. So in the next few seconds, we're going to be leaving Tingana to go off in search of other nocturnal creatures. However, while we do that, let's go over to Brent and see what his plans are for the rest of the Sunset Safari.
Hello. We've managed to extricate ourselves from that block. I've got a few owies, some new holes, and that one's still got a thorn in it, and I'll have to dig that out later. But I just heard the Styx lionesses are around, so we're going to head down there and see if we can catch up with them for the last few minutes of drive. Oh, I'm so happy our plan worked out today. I was really hoping that Karula was going to catch something. I wonder if that's her first baby impala of the lambing season. I think it might be. Now, thank goodness. Oh, that's actually quite sore. It's right in the joint. Thank goodness she's got cubs. So, generally, if you've got a leopard that doesn't have cubs at this time of the year, at the impala lambing season, they become incredibly difficult to find, because when they catch a baby impala, it weighs even less than a dyke or a steenbok. So you don't find those distinct drag marks. Sorry, 1 second. Copy, thanks FBI. Sorry, I had to fix something on the Morva. I'm coming down Mamba now. Copy, thanks very much. Oh, sorry, Jean, I was on the radio. What was it? Oh, tawny eagle. Oh, yeah. Well, Karula's will be quite happy that tawny eagle. That's why she would have hidden that baby impala. Oh, dear. So deep in that thicket to make sure something like a tawny eagle or a bateleur didn't spot it. Oh dear. And you can see we've been off-roading. I just need to do some, our light is now pointing backwards. That's that way. Of course they have to be able to swivel, because if they don't swivel, firstly we can't set them where we want them to go, and thirdly they would probably break while we off-roaded. There's a lovely smell to the African bush this evening, a lovely crisp, clear. Genre, because I stole it from you last time, you can have it this time. Oh no, it flew again. Sorry, I thought I was going to stop. A very full crop, that tawny eagle. As it took off, you could actually see that it was very full. I think there it goes in the distance. Genre is going for it. Oh, it's gone. It might land. There's a big dead knobthorn on the right. You'll get it, John Ray. It's seated nicely for you. I'm going to try and get the best skyline for the tawny silhouette. You ready with your screenshots? There we go. Now we just need the tawny to pop its head up. Stop being... There we go. Lovely. Doing a bit of preening. Beautiful. Lovely. Oh, look at that. Stop. Oh, there we go. Screenshot quickly, guys. Quickly. Share them on the hashtag safariLIVE on Twitter or on our Facebook page or on many of the groups that the safariLIVE fans have. That was wonderful. Perfect. Sorry I chased it earlier, Jean-Ray, but at least we got it this time. Okay, let's keep heading towards those Styx lions. Remember, this is 100% live. We do not know what is around the next corner. This time it was a tawny eagle. Next time it could be an elephant. Next time it could be a lion. Well, actually, that's a lie. I know where the lions are, so hopefully they will be around the corner, unless they move before we get there. And not the hashtag Safari Live, of course, is not only for sharing screenshots that you get on the live drives. You can ask us questions, and you can do that on Twitter with the hashtag Safari Live, or if you would like to send us an email, you can with the questions at wildearth.tv. Now it looks like the rain that was predicted missed us and headed to the north. I'm not sure whether there's more weather predicted for the week, but we'll find out. The bush is always quite special after a few days of sort of drizzle and cloud, and then when the sun bursts out, you get very crisp, clear skies, crisp, clear bush, wonderful smells. What a wonderful place to call home. We shouldn't be too far away from the lines now. We're just going to pop through the Mawati, head a little bit further to the north. Tough day in the office. We're going to keep moving through 6 lines. While we do that, go see what Jamie's been for the rest of drive.
Well, Brent is absolutely spot on. There's nothing like the magic of the bush just after a light rain. And of course, it brings with it the possibility of all sorts of things. I'm hoping for an alate emergence. In other words, the winged reproductive members of the termite mounds, they come out in search of a mate and a way of creating their own new termite colony. And it always attracts so many different species, different birds, nocturnal birds, little owls, and aardvarks, and all kinds of things. I've seen a leopard before feeding off a termite explosion. We call it an explosion of termites. And they do come out in thousands and thousands. So that's what I'm hoping for tonight. And perhaps we'll get a chance to see them. And then it continues on throughout the next day. And it's always a very... We've had some amazing shots before. I remember once, I think it was James and myself, sitting at the last termite explosion at the end of the last rainy season, sitting with our lights on so that I was backlighting the termites for him and vice versa, and they were all fluttering around us. It was truly magical. Apart from when they went down your shirt, it was a truly magical experience. It was utterly beautiful. They were like fairy lights in that light. Crawling, creeping fairy lights. Tangui style. You want to know whether or not flies will go away during the evening on an African evening. Yes, they do, or at least they don't tend to plague us as much. They will often, there's some species of fly that will only live for a couple of hours at a time, go out, breed, and that's their life cycle complete. Lay their eggs and the maggots will start, and that's how they reproduce. But the flies will generally go and settle somewhere and spend the evening away from us. Where at night night, we face an entirely different group of insects, moths and beetles, and all sorts of exciting things come out. And it's always entertaining whenever you find yourself sitting around a campfire and eating in the dark. You always know the people who have perhaps not spent all that much time out here in Africa, or at least in an area where there are lots of bugs, because rather than trying to eat by the light of the fire, they'll have those spotlights on their heads, those flashlights that sit on their heads, and they look down at their food like that, and then they wonder why on earth they're trying to avoid eating all of the bugs that are flying into their faces. We do, of course, tell them, if you have guests and they don't know what they're doing, you always tell them to avoid having a spotlight on your head that all of the insects are attracted to. Now, that's something that we definitely avoid, but the spotlight is unavoidable. Now, there are at least some big cats on Djuma that we can spotlight. Let's go over to Brent and the Styx lionesses.
And there is indeed, here we go, one of the Styx lionesses busy grooming herself. And you can see they're recovering quite nicely from the mange, slowly but surely. And the mange is one of those parasites that struggles when it's damp and wet, so the rain should help tremendously with that. Now, I heard the reason that they're up here is that an unidentified pride of lions came in from the south. Now, judging from where they came in, near the Londolozi Mala boundary, it's more than likely a pride I used to know as well, called the Irefield Pride in some places, or the Sparta Pride in other places. So apparently 5 or 6 lionesses from that pride made a foray into what is very traditionally Styx country, and being down to 2, not even 3, because that female is denning with her cubs way down on Cheetah Plains, these 2 lionesses skedaddled up to the north. Now, luckily for them, the Nkuhumas went west. But you'll probably find the Styx girls will keep quite a low profile up here in Nkuhuma land, not being too vocal. Now, it was December last year, I actually saw these 2 Styx girls on quarantine, which is very much Nkuhuma country. So there are no real set boundaries, rather sort of home ranges. That there is some overlap between the prides. I'm trying to get some of those ticks and fleas out of there, I'm sure. So we're quite close to Chelepan, so quite deep inside Djuma for the Styx. Ooh. Shh. I heard that. Did you hear that, Chandra? Where did that roar come from? I think Nkuhuma's on the west. That roar came from the east. Must be one of the Birmingham boys. Right in the distance. Calling away. What's the other female behind us doing, Chandra?
Too dark to see. Whoa.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to see what the other lion's doing. Is she up on the move? Is she having a drink? Sorry, oh, she's moved onto the road. She's moved onto the road behind us, not too far. I think this lioness is more than likely to get up and move towards her, so I'm going to move towards the one who's on the road. So as I said, the mange, oh, that was close. Don't want to fall into a mud wall there, even a little one. Especially not a big one. Hello, girlie. Let's just get the car in the right spot. There it is. Now another of the Styx lionesses. Only 3 that I know of left. Oh, maybe not such a low profile. Now, Judy's wondering if the... Oh, sorry, Judy, I'm just getting my spotlight. If the Styx smelt an Nkuma scent mark, would they turn around and leave? Depends how fresh the scent mark is, but there we go. There's a bit of contact calling. I don't know who you contact calling for. Maybe the third lioness who's got the cubs. Oh, and then flop. Roll over. Stretch and walk towards us. No? You can still see there are a few bad spots of mange left, but they're definitely looking better than they were. Now these lions could be coming to estrus quite soon. Of course they did lose their cubs to mange. Maybe they're looking for Birmingham boys. You see the canine's still in perfect order. It has been a hot day. They're probably still a little lazy. Not quite ready to get up and start moving yet. Heavy eyelids. Now, until we see them sort of starting to get up, urinate, stretch, I'm probably not going to get too mobile. And lifting her face towards the wind. Oh, here comes a yawn. Mighty gnashes there, madam. His teeth look in great condition. Hi, Kathy. Kathy's wondering, do the Birminghams mate with the Styx lionesses? Indeed they do, Kathy. The Birminghams control 3 prides currently. The Nkuhumas, the Styx, and the Torchwood Pride. Torchwood Pride I've never seen. They're way down. Spend most of their time in Kruger, way down in the east. But, oh, here she comes. But we are coming towards the end of the Sunset Safari. And I'm going to say goodbye for Jamie, because we've got lions, and they might get a little bit of greeting before the end of the show. But it has been a spectacular Sunday fun day with big cats galore, Styx, Nkuhumas, Tingana, Karula, and cubs. What a wonderful Sunday. And now the Styx giving us a little bit of greeting. Oh, and they're heading deeper north, deeper into Nkahuma land. Yeah, see, look at that behavior. They're about to come into estrus. She's false presenting to a female. So I think they're looking for boys, these two. She's acting like she was flirting with the male. But, oh, we're going to get some pseudo-female mating. So definitely about to come into estrus, and what a way to end Sunday's show. So from Jean-Andre and myself and the rest of the Safari Live team, adieu.